Today I will discuss two fundamentals law, that is Coulomb's law and Gauss law, which is essential to estimate the electrostatic field. Having mastered some essential tool is needed for this subject, that is vector analysis, vector calculus and coordinate system. Then only we will be prepared to study the basic concept of electromagnetics. We shall begin with those fundamental concepts that are applicable to static or time variant electric field in free space or vacuum. An electrostatic field is produced by a static charge distribution. So, we begin our study of electrostatics by investigating these two fundamentals law governing the electrostatic field. First is Coulomb as Coulomb's law. Second is Gauss law. Coulomb's law basically used to find the electrostatic field by any charge distribution. Can be used for any charge distribution, but Gauss law is applicable where the charge are symmetrically distributed. Both these law are based on experimental study. The special problem that can be solved with the effort using Coulomb's law, we can solve easily by using the Gauss law. So we will study now one by one. First I will discuss Coulomb's law, then I will discuss Gauss law, then application of these both. So first we discuss the Coulomb's law. The Coulomb's law experimented in 1785 by Charles Augustin de Coulombs. Then after it is done by Colonel in French army. So first we discuss the electrostatic field by the charge, means point charge. First we know what is the point charge. A point charge means that a charge on a body whose dimensions are much smaller than the other relevant dimensions. Coulomb's law states that the force between two point charges Q1 and Q2 will be find as follows. The force acting on the charge will be along the line joining these two charges, that is R12, and also this force is proportional to multiplication of Q1 and Q2, charge Q1 and Q2. And third, this force is inversely proportional to the square of distance between these two charges, that is F is proportional to 1 by R square. So we combine these three, we will get F is proportional to Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Here we remove the proportionality constant, we will get F equals to, means force equals to K Q1 Q2 divided by R square, where K equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equals to 9 into 10 to the power 9. Thus the force between these two charges will be Q1 Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon is naught R square in the direction of AR. Means if we are finding the force on Q2 due to 1, then this is known as F12. If we find the force on Q1 due to this Q2, then this force is known as F21. The distance between this origin and the charge Q1 is R1, and the position vector of q2 with respect to origin is r2. This r12 is equals to position vector of r2 minus r1. So, what we find? We find that F12 means force on charge 2 due to 1 is known as F12, that equals to Q1 Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square A r12. The force on charge 1 is opposite to the force on charge 2. This unit vector we can find by calculating r12 and mod of this r12 divided by mod of this r12, that is position vector of r2 minus position vector of r1 and mod of this whole quantity r2 minus r1. So, we can modify this force F12 in the form of position vector, that is q1 q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r2 minus r1 का whole square, r2 minus r1 divided by r2 minus r1 का mod. Then finally, we can write F12 equals to q1 q2 upon 4 pi epsilon naught this r2 minus r1 position vector of r2 minus position vector of r1 divided by mod of this r2 minus r1 to power 3. Now, we will calculate the force on a single charge q due to the multiple charge, that is n charge. If we are having n charge, then how we will calculate the force on another charge through all these charges. So, here we will use the superposition principle. We will calculate the force by this q1 onto q, force by this q2 on q1 and force by this qn on this q. All these forces can be added using superposition principle. So, force on this q1 due to this force on this q by the q1 will be q1 r minus r1. R is the position vector of this charge q and r1 is the position vector of charge q1. Means r minus r1 will give you the distance between this charge q and q1. So, we can write the force 1, that is due to q1 on q, that is force 1, and force 2, that is due to q2 on q1, that is F2, and force due to charge q1 on q, that is Fn. We can add all these forces by using a superposition principle. So, what we will get? We can sum all these forces, that is q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught summation k equals to 1 to n q k r minus r k divided by mod of this r minus r k cube. And we know electric field is defined the force per unit charge. Force per unit charge equals to F by Q. So, here we can get electric field equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught summation q k equals to 1 to n q k r minus r k divided by r minus r k cube, mod of r minus r k cube. Now, we will discuss the Gauss law. Gauss law says that the total electric flux through any closed surface is equals to the total charge enclosed by that surface. that is flux equals to charge enclosed. Total electric flux equals to charge enclosed. Suppose we have a charge q, then the total flux will be the charge enclosed by the any surface. Suppose this is the surface, then the total flux through this surface equals to the charge enclosed by the surface. So, phi equals to q enclosed, that is d dot ds, flux density into surface area, where d equals to epsilon naught E. Application of this Gauss law equals to, this can be find by the procedure, first find the system in charge, symmetry in charge distribution, then choose the Gaussian surface, then the surface is chosen such that D is normal or tangential to the Gaussian surface. Now, we will see the application of these two laws, that is Gauss law and Coulomb's law for point charge. Using Gauss law, this flux enclosed equals to flux, total flux equals to charge enclosed, that is d dot ds. This first we suppose the Gaussian surface like this, spherical surface, and the flux through this charge q is perpendicular to this surface, means the flux is in the direction of radius of this is surface. So, the total surface area of this sphere will be 4 pi r square, where r is the distance between the surface and origin. Here dr indicates that the flux is perpendicular to this surface. If we find this ds, surface area of this Gaussian surface, that will be 4 pi r square, we can calculate by this formula. So, charge enclosed equals to d dot ds equals to dr 4 pi r square. Then q charge enclosed equals to dr 4 pi r square, dr, then dr equals to q enclosed divided by 4 pi r square. So, what we can say that this flux is in the direction of AR. So, we can see that the flux in the direction of AR, that equals to q divided by 4 pi r square in the direction of AR. Now, we will calculate the electric field due to Coulomb's law, by a Coulomb's law. This charge will exert a force on this point into this direction. So, the electric field can be written here as q divided by 4 pi epsilon r square in the direction of AR, and we know E equals to d divided by epsilon naught. So, we can find d equals to q divided by 4 pi r square AR in the direction of r, means the line joining the point P and charge q. So, we can see this using Gauss law and using Coulomb's law, we can find out the electric field or the electric flux. Now, we will see the application of Gauss law and Coulomb's law for a point charge. Here we can see that how it is easy, how the Gauss law is easy to find the electric field rather to find the electric field by using Coulomb's law. Suppose we want to find the electric field by a line charge of length infinite. So, first we have to assume a Gaussian surface to this line charge. The density of line charge is rho L Coulomb per meter. So, construct a Gaussian surface in such a way that the flux through that surface is either perpendicular to the surface or parallel to the surface. So, for this surface, this curved surface, the electric flux is perpendicular, and for this surface the flux is parallel. For this surface the flux is parallel. So, first we have to calculate the charge enclosed through this Gaussian surface, that is rho L multiplied by this L distance. So, charge enclosed will be rho L into L. D dot ds will be d in the direction of rho. Why we are writing here is rho? Because this is a cylindrical coordinate system. So, here we can write the flux in the direction of rho, and the area of this surface means cylindrical surface equals to 2 pi rho L. Rho is the radius, rho is the radius of this cylindrical surface. So, what we will get? We will get d electric flux equals to rho L divided by 2 pi rho a rho. Now, we will calculate using the Coulomb's law, and we will see the difference of calculation. Using this Coulomb's law, we can find the electric field at a point P due to this line charge. First, we have to calculate a charge by this dl length, means differential charge we have to calculate. Then the q equals to total charge will be this charge due to this dl equals to rho L dz. This dl equals to basically dz. So, the charge will be rho L into dz. So, if we calculate total charge from A to B, then we have to calculate this integration, that is rho L dz from Z A to Z B, from A to B, and we have to calculate this distance r, because divided by r square we need. So, r equals to this coordinate x minus this coordinate 0 0 z dash. So, we can find here the r distance between between the point and the charge. So, we can manipulate this x a x and y a y equals to rho a rho by using coordinate system, and this z minus z dash equals to a z into a z. So, magnitude of this r equals to under root x, that is equals to x square plus y square plus z minus z dash ka whole square, that is x square plus y square equals to rho square and plus z minus z dash ka whole square. Then we can we can calculate A r by r square, that is r by r cube, we will get this quantity. Now, we can calculate E equals to the charge divided by 4 pi epsilon naught A r by r, that is this quantity. After solving this, we will get this electric field equals to rho L divided 4 pi epsilon naught from alpha 1 to alpha 2, that is cos alpha A rho plus sin alpha A z d alpha. So, we can see the difference for the calculation of electric field using Coulomb's law and Gauss law. For the next time, we will see the application of this Gauss law and Coulomb's law for the surface charge density and volume charge density. Thank you.